This is Squawk 7000 bringing you a roundup of aviation news this week starting January 30th in association with flyinginireland.com. Remember to subscribe and to keep us as Ireland's #1 aviation podcast, and we'll deliver the news to your device every Monday morning. I'm Michael Cummin. In the headlines this week, British airline Flybe has ceased trading and all scheduled flights have been cancelled. The UK Civil Aviation Authority announced this on Saturday morning. Emerald Airlines carries its 1 millionth passenger less than 12 months since its inaugural flight from Donegal to Dublin. And the famous Birr Breakfast Fly-In, the traditional flying season opener, will take place on April 15th next. And the fundraising efforts of staff at the airport operating company DAA, supported by passengers at Dublin Airport, saw cheques presented totalling $390,000 to 3 charities following several successful fundraising activities over the past 3 years. UK authorities announced on Saturday that British airline Flybe had ceased trading and all scheduled flights had been cancelled. It comes after Flybe returned to the skies in April of last year, following an earlier collapse. It operated up to 530 flights per week across 23 routes, serving airports such as Belfast City, Birmingham, East Midlands, Glasgow, Heathrow and Leeds Bradford. The collapse of the airline Flybe has been described as disappointing and unexpected by the chief executive of Belfast City Airport. The UK Civil Aviation Authority, the CAA, said it would provide advice and information to those affected. Administrators have taken over the company, which only relaunched in April of last year. When Flybe previously collapsed in 2020, it was responsible for around 80% of Belfast City Airport's flights. Matthew Hall, chief executive of Belfast City Airport, said that first and foremost his thoughts would be with Flybe employees and passengers affected by this disappointing and unexpected news. Flybe operated 10 flights to and from Belfast City, 8 of which are currently served by other carriers from the airport. Ryanair mentioned in social media posts this weekend that for any pilots affected by this, Ryanair had several first officer positions available and can provide an assessment in Stansted next week with a guaranteed UK base. Emerald Airlines marked a significant milestone by celebrating its 1 millionth passenger less than 12 months since its inaugural flight from Donegal to Dublin. The Brady family, travelling on flight EI3304 from Dublin Airport to Southampton, were presented with 4 complimentary round-trip tickets to use anywhere on the Emerald Airlines Aer Lingus regional route network. Born out of the pandemic, the airline began flying on the Dublin-Donegal route on February 26, 2022 and has experienced significant growth since. By summer 2023, it will fly 25 routes, 15 from Dublin, 10 from Belfast, with over 580 flights per week. Conor McCarthy, executive chairman of Emerald Airlines, commented that it was a tremendous milestone for Emerald Airlines, having operated their first flight less than 12 months ago. Emerald also recently announced its summer schedule for 2023 with over 1.5 million seats on sale for the summer season, new routes from Belfast to Jersey and Newquay, and an increase in frequency on popular services, including a doubling of seats on Dublin Southampton and Dublin Jersey. Air Club, the loyalty programme of Aer Lingus, is celebrating its 2 millionth member since the programme launched in 2016. Last year saw a surge of new members with over 500,000 people joining. The most frequently travelled routes by Air Club members include London, Amsterdam and Manchester from both Dublin and Cork. The government Learjet 45 is becoming less reliable and will have to be replaced by 2024. Tánaiste and Defence Minister Micheál Martin has been told by his officials in a brief for his new role. The jet, which has been in use since it was purchased for €8 million in 2004, took 56 trips in 2021 and 63 last year. Operated by the Air Corps, it costs an average of €3,790 an hour to run, according to the brief. Ryanair will hire 200 people ahead of the summer rush as the budget airline anticipates pent-up demand from passengers who put their travel plans on hold during the pandemic. The recruits will become part of the company's Dublin cabin crew. Ryanair has said people are continuing to plan summer getaways despite rampant inflation and a slowing European economy. Ryanair is not seeing any signs of recession, according to CEO Michael O'Leary, who pointed to 2 weeks of record bookings this January and a recovery in demand from Britain. The aviation industry is ramping up hiring after last summer saw long lines and mass cancellations as airlines and airports struggle to cope with a resurgence in travel following the pandemic. The famous Birr Breakfast Fly-In, the traditional flying season opener, will take place on April 15th next. The event last year was attended by over 100 aircraft and raised over €20,000 for St Vincent de Paul Birr. €10,000 was raised by participating pilots on the day, with that amount matched by Simtech Aviation. The fly-in was supported by over 40 volunteers from the Ormond Flying Club and the local community who cook breakfasts, marshalled aircraft and handle the radio. 27 newly qualified aircraft engineers will now officially embark on their career in aviation, having successfully completed Aer Lingus' maintenance and engineering apprenticeship. 19 male and 8 female graduates displayed consistent hard work and dedication to complete the 4-year programme. Since the maintenance and engineering apprenticeship first began in 2011, Aer Lingus has helped forge the career of 140 aircraft engineers who joined the airline having graduated from the apprenticeship. Of the most recent apprenticeships from 2017 and 2018, all graduates have been hired by Aer Lingus and will join its maintenance and engineering team, servicing the airline's fleet of Airbus aircraft, including the next generation Airbus A321neo and 320neo, which are Aer Lingus' newest and most sustainable aircraft. Aer Lingus plans to launch its next Aer Lingus maintenance and engineering apprenticeship in early spring 2023. Shannon Airport welcomed over 1.51 million passengers to the airport in 2022, a 300% increase on 2021 figures and an 88% recovery of the 2019 passenger levels. European services recovered strongly in 2022, with over 532,000 passengers travelling through Shannon. This surpassed 2019 pre-pandemic levels by 7% and was a 225% increase in 2021. Shannon recorded over 638,000 passengers on its UK services. In 2022, after an absence of almost 2 years, transatlantic services returned in March 2022 and saw a strong rebound of nearly 240,000 passengers on services to New York, Boston and Newark. A further boost is expected from May of this year when a new daily non-stop seasonal service to Chicago starts with United Airlines. In 2022, the Shannon Airport Group invested over €21 million across the Shannon campus to provide property solutions for its business customers. During the year, the sod was turned on 2 new developments on the campus, an €8 million multi-use industrial space spanning over 60,000 square feet and a €6 million R&D technology facility spanning over 40,000 square feet. And we'll be back with more aviation news in just a moment. This is Squawk 7000. Well, Radio Kerry reported that Kerry Airport CEO wants the government to commit to reinstating the PSO contract on the Kerry-Dublin route if the need arises. The Department of Transport is inviting interested parties to put forward items to be considered in the upcoming mid-term review of the regional airports programme. Kerry Airport CEO John Mulhern is asking local stakeholders to make submissions, particularly on the Kerry-Dublin route. The Department of Transport is inviting individuals or groups to make submissions they would like to see included in the mid-term review of the Regional Airports Programme 2021 to 25. Kerry Airport CEO John Mulhern said that as part of the process, consideration may be given to reinstating the public service obligation contract on the Kerry-Dublin route if at any stage it becomes commercially unviable for Ryanair. In a letter to local business representatives, Mr Mulhern said that since the pandemic, passenger growth on all routes, particularly Kerry-Dublin, confirms demand and underlies the airport's importance in providing connectivity in the region. ASG is an Irish-based approved training organisation, ATO, that delivers air transport pilot licence theory training, ATPL, and private pilot licence training, PPL, in addition to providing a wide variety of bespoke training courses for airlines and aviation customers. Well, they've just completed 2 weeks of training with the Irish Coast Guard, where the ASG team delivered their 11th Search and Rescue Tasking and Coordination course as part of their partnership with Ireland's Search and Rescue and Maritime Safety Agency. The IRCG's mission is to deliver a world-class search and rescue, maritime casualty and pollution response service to the Irish coastline. They also welcomed visiting participants from HM Coast Guard in the UK and the Irish Police Garda Air Support Unit. Reuters news agency reported that the world's largest aircraft leasing company AerCap warned that delivery problems at Boeing and Airbus were likely to last years and that manufacturers were giving airlines too little notice about delays. Over-promising and under-delivery were likely to be an issue with manufacturers for years to come, AerCap Chief Executive Angus Kelly told the annual Airline Economics Conference in Dublin. According to Mr Kelly, if you're an airline looking towards the summer of 2023, you've sold the seats, hired the crews, booked the slots, and if the airplane doesn't show up, you're in real trouble. He said some airlines are buying 20-year-old aircraft rather than taking a risk on new models. Belfast International Airport has launched a new recruitment drive seeking 300 staff ahead of Ryanair's return in March. The Irish carrier is due to resume activities at the airport within weeks, with 2 new Boeing 737-800 aircraft based on site. Ryanair plans to eventually operate 140 weekly flights across 16 routes this year. Eastern Airways is also due to launch a new daily service to Southampton next month. At the same time, Belfast International's anchor airline, EasyJet, is set to add an 8th aircraft to its Aldergrove base. The airport said the increase in activity during 2023 puts it on course to exceed pre-pandemic passenger numbers. A record 6.28 million people passed through the terminal in 2019. And Dublin Airport announced that it is set to invest €73 million in expanding the US Customs Border Protection facility at the airport. A planning application for the new expansion will be submitted by the end of March 2023, with approval expected by 2024. The expansion aims to meet the expected increased numbers of long-haul routes in the coming years, particularly long-haul routes to the USA. Dublin Airport's transatlantic traffic has grown 153% since 2010, making it the 5th largest gateway between Europe and North America. As of November 2022, Dublin Airport facilitated flights to 14 destinations in North America. In a statement, a spokesman from DAA said it is expected throughout the next regulatory period for continued and increased pressure on the US Customs and Border Protection processing infrastructure to deliver the level of customer experience and processing time the airport aspires to meet. The airport expects building work to last 32 months. The Ulster Flying Club has arranged a fundraiser for the Caroline Mahoney Future Female Pilot Scholarship. Arranged in honour of Caroline and in consultation with her family, the Ulster Flying Club launched the Caroline Mahoney Future Female Pilot Scholarship. Caroline Mahoney was a mother, teacher and member of the aviation community who lost her life in an aircraft accident on Tuesday, July 19th last year. According to the club, her passion for aviation was unwavering. She was completing advanced flight training with the ultimate goal of becoming a flight instructor. Caroline was instrumental in the success of open days and club flyouts and dedicated her free time to the Newtownards Airport Fire and Rescue Service. In honour of Caroline and her passion for flying, relentless contributions to aviation in Northern Ireland and dedication to the Flying Club, UFC announced that they are now accepting donations for the scholarship in her memory. This scholarship will help an aspiring female to become a fully qualified private pilot at the Ulster Flying Club. Details on how to apply for the Caroline Mahoney Future Female Pilot Scholarship will be announced at a later date. The fund is already being well supported, with almost £7,000 raised. And the fundraising efforts of staff at the airport operating company DAA, supported by passengers at Dublin Airport, saw cheques presented totalling €390,000 to 3 charities following several successful fundraising activities over the past 3 years. The 3 charities, St Francis Hospice, the Mater Foundation and Feed Our Homeless, were each presented with a cheque for €130,000 at a special ceremony at Dublin Airport on Wednesday morning last. This takes the total amount raised by DAA staff since 2007 to more than €3.4 million, which has been shared amongst 30 charities. Due to reduced passenger numbers and increased staff working from home due to the COVID-19 safety measures, DAA staff voted unanimously to extend the fundraising activities for charity partners selected in 2020 until the end of 2022. Since 2020, DAA staff have raised money for the 3 charities through a series of events, with DAA itself also making a significant contribution to the fund. Following a rigorous selection process over recent months, DAA staff have voted for 3 new charities to support this year. This year's money will be donated to the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland, Ronald McDonald House and Cork Life Centre. And keeping up with the adventures of Captain Paddy T. Birr and Lucky, his sidekick, they continued their adventures on board the EI 3614-3615 Aer Lingus Regional Belfast-Manchester service last week. These 2 pioneering aviators are going where no bear has gone before, taking part in Aviation Challenge Ireland to raise awareness and funds for Laura Lynn, Ireland's Children's Hospice, and Dogs Trust Ireland. These little bears will travel far and wide with as many pilots as they can and to as many airfields as possible, logging their adventures along the way. Captain Paddy is bringing awareness to Laura Lynn, Lucky is bringing attention to Dog Trust Ireland, and we'll get you more news of their adventures in future bulletins. Remember, if you have aviation news you'd like us to share, include us in your news emails and send your stories to news at squawk7000.ie. Remember too that we now have over 124 episodes of Squawk 7000 in our library, including our summer series of extended interviews with people from the world of aviation. There for you to enjoy at any point. Thanks for joining us.